I'm Christine, and today we're gonna be talking about the Fifth Wave movie. Okay, so before I get into my movie thoughts, I really quickly want to say The Fifth Wave is one of my favorite books of all time, and I want to give you my glowing recommendation. I love this book. It's told like a giant puzzle. It's quirky, it's dark, it's harsh, it's desperate, and it's funny. It has funny characters. I love it. I have a whole review for it. So you can click here, watch my book talk for the book. So I saw the movie last night. I had pretty low expectations because I already had a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. And as a film, like it wasn't terrible. It was just mediocre. But as an adaptation of The Fifth Wave, I really didn't like it. Thing is, okay, let me start off with my positives about the movie. I love Chloe. I love her in everything, starting with Kick-Ass. Hit Girl is one of my favorite superhero characters. She's fantastic. I love her. Everyone else. I love the kid who plays Ben Parrish. I didn't love Ben Parrish so much in the film, just the way that they morphed his character into a kind of basic teen movie dude. But I love that actor. I saw him in Kings of Summer. He's great. What makes The Fifth Wave great is its quirks. It has this weird, humorous part in the midst of this darkest, grittiest shit that's happening to the world. Cassie has this sarcasm, this blunt, honest sarcasm. She talks to a bear on the daily. She's feisty as F. And she's awkward around boys. I feel like the movie stripped away everything that made The Fifth Wave special for me and turned it into a teen disaster movie. They took the characters that I love and they stripped them to their bare teen movie bones. The dialogue wasn't very good. If you go to the movie, it'll be fine. You'll see it, and if you haven't read the book, you'll just be like, oh, that was fine. But if you read the book and then you go to the movie, you see that they tore away everything that made this book so wonderful. So I'd give this movie a C-. They blew through character relationships. We don't get the same relationship with her and Ben. We don't get the same relationship with Ben and Nugget. We don't get the same relationship with Evon and Cassie. Those are three very important bonds that weave the characters of this book together, and they were not strong. That's my non-spoiler review. That's it for the non-spoiler section. Bye, people who haven't seen the movie, unless you just want to watch me talk about it. The movie opens up with Cassie at a party. She's at a high school party, and I just feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I read this book like 3 years ago now, but Cassie's not the type who is at a high school party on Saturday night. Anyway, her best friend Elizabeth is asking her about Ben. He was supposed to come to this party. Why do the hot ones never show up? They always flake. She's leaving the party and there's Ben outside. And he looks at her and he's like, hey. And I'm like, why are you talking to her? Are you talking to her? Because you guys don't talk. You don't acknowledge each other. That's what makes this funny. I'm just waiting. I want her to say, remember the babies? I want her to spit out, remember the babies. Remember the babies, Ben. Remember. And she's like, nice phone case. Because it's a pink phone case. And he's like, you have a problem with pink? And she's like, no. It's just like this meaningless conversation that never comes into play for a joke further on in the movie. It doesn't really give them an inside joke. It's not funny. She's just like, oh, my phone's polka dot. And he's like, oh, this is my sister's phone. And oh, there she is calling, so I gotta go. I mean, if this was gonna come back, maybe, full circle, and be like, oh yeah, you're the girl with the polka dot phone, right? Maybe I would have been like, oh, well, at least it had a purpose. But it had no purpose. Because the next time they see each other, he's like, I'm Ben Parrish, we went to school together. In the book, it was just so funny that she runs into Ben Parrish at that army base. And he doesn't really know who she is. He says things like, we're not really friends, like we didn't know each other. It's so good. Like, you've been in her shoes and it's hilarious. Then Evon Walker, my precious Evon Walker. He's weird and creepy and attractive and delightful. Some of the best scenes in the book are with Cassie and Evon. That scene when she's in the bathtub, she's trying to shower and she tells him to leave and he doesn't leave, he just keeps looming outside the door. So funny and so cute. Those moments were lost. There weren't any moments like that. They didn't have any bonding conversations. They had these weird conversations. I was not impressed with the actor who played Evon Walker. I don't know what he delivered his lines in such a weird fashion. You thought I was a hit, didn't you? They didn't have a relationship before they left the house, and I feel like she healed so fast from the bullet wound. I didn't feel any of the feelings I felt when I was reading this book. I laughed one time. There's that little love triangle moment when Evon shows up and he's like, who's this guy? It's obviously Ben. You just were looking at her ripped clipping of him. He looks exactly the same. And she's like, yeah, this is Ben Parrish. And they have this new moon moment where she like makes out with Evan in front of him. And then we have this unneeded scene where Evan is bathing. She wakes up in the morning and she's watching him in the water. It didn't further the relationship. It was clearly just a ploy to get teen girls to giggle. Oh, she never talked to Bear. I love Bear and Cassie's relationship. I cried once in the movie when Sam is on the bus and it's pulling away and Cassie's chasing after it and she can't get to him. It's so sad. I think the kid who played Sam was actually really good. The scene, the pivotal moment when Ben and Ringer realize that they are the fifth wave in the movie, it felt like we didn't even take a second to be like, whoa, we're the fifth wave. Don't you see that this is it was just like, he came over to Ringer's side and was like, you guys, they were lying to us. We're the fifth wave. There was no thought process. There was no realization dawning in his voice. It was just delivered like he realized it in a snap second and delivered a monologue about it. I just wasn't buying this script. I wasn't a big fan of the way Ringer was portrayed. Ringer was a badass in the book. In the movie, she didn't feel like a badass. She felt like an emo teenager to me. And I don't know if that was me misreading her in the book. There's a way to say her lines in a non-whiny fashion, and I felt like she was whining when she spoke, even when she said things like, no misogynistic sayings, and it just came out in this nasally whiny voice instead of this badass confident one. I don't know. I wanted to like the movie. I wanted to like it so much. Just in general, the movie was way tamer than I wanted it to be. We didn't get those scenes when her mom was dying in their house. Chloe's hair always looked like it was just blown out. Evan never got shrapnel in his ass. That's one of the best scenes in the book. That was so funny. And it was like a great bonding moment because they had already, I think that they had broken off from each other because she found out he was an other. Then he gets her and she fixes him up. The scene where she finds out he's an other. Oh, God, I didn't like it. I didn't like how they made him like a vampire. There's this one shot where there's lightning and he's jumping 15 feet in the air. We didn't have to add him jumping around like a monkey because that just makes it look stupid now. It was cool and now it's stupid. Like in the book, he has information that he couldn't possibly have had and then he tells her and lets her in his mind or something. Doesn't he do that? He like lets his essence go into her so she knows what he is. I'm just disappointed. I'm really excited for The Last Star, which is the third book in this series that's coming out this year. I don't think we're gonna get a second movie. I don't really want one. Please share your thoughts. If you had a least favorite scene and a favorite scene. I'm trying to think what my favorite scene would be. I think it's the scene when the army comes. It takes away Sam. My least favorite scene, I think it has to be the Evan bathing scene. I was already fed up with how they hadn't given us any of those beautiful Evan Cassie moments. When they're lying on the bed together talking and then they start making out, I think that was a really sweet scene. Like their conversations were really sweet. And they didn't have any of those conversations. And he didn't have any of his creeper moments. They made him out to be just a normal boy, a bland normal boy. Meanwhile, he's this like weird creeper. And it's so funny. You know what? One thing this movie did was make me really want to reread the book. I'm Christine. I make videos every Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!